Next, we have another amazing individual. Got a chance to meet him and spend some time with him. He is the director of Disability Policy at the Harkin Institute for Public Policy and Citizen Engagement. He is a disability rights attorney who has practiced most extensively in the areas of inclusion, education, gender-based violence, and inclusive international development. And he draws on his personal and professional experience with disability and leading the disability policy work at the Harkin Institute. So please welcome Daniel Van Sant.
Everybody, good afternoon. It's always hard to follow lunch, and it's especially hard to follow somebody like Senator Harkin himself, but I'm going to do my very best to do that as best as I can. So my name is Daniel Van Sant. I am an attorney with determination from the United States. And I also want to say hello to everyone who's watching online, hello to everybody here. I want to take a minute to describe myself for anybody who is not accessing this visually. So I am a white man in my 30s from the United States. And as was just mentioned, I'm the director of disability policy for the Harkin Institute that is tasked with carrying on the legacy of this great man that you all just got to hear from. And so I'm going to talk a little bit today about that legacy and what we're doing moving forward. Of course, we're here to celebrate the International Day of Persons with Disabilities. That's the big event that brought us all together at the Expo. But I want to take one step back and talk about another holiday that we had recently in the United States, and that is Thanksgiving. This is a national holiday that we have where people get together and talk about what they're grateful for, what blessings they have, share that time together. And so when we have this holiday, we take time to think about what we're grateful for and what our blessings are. And because I'm in that mindset, that's what I'm gonna structure this short speech about today. So I want to say that I was blessed to be born with a disability. And I use the word blessed intentionally because we have to start shifting that language. And I owe a lot of success in my life and a lot of opportunity to being blessed with having a disability. And for that, I am thankful. I mentioned earlier that I am in my 30s. I want to say specifically that I am 32 years old. I was born in 1989. And why might that be significant? All right, okay, so people are saying, right, I was born 1 year before the Americans with Disabilities Act was passed, the law that Senator Harkin championed and led through the United States Senate. And what that means is that while I was blessed with being born with a disability, because of the work of Senator Harkin and all of the advocates that came before me, I and other disabled people my age and younger have also been blessed to live in the United States only under a system where we have federal laws that protect our rights. Because of the work of people that came before me, I have never had to know what it's like to live in the United States without those laws and protections. And that's a blessing. And that is a piece of the legacy that I am tasked now at the Harkin Institute with carrying forward. So in the United States, people refer to disabled people my age and younger as part of the ADA generation, because we are the generation of disabled people that grew up after the ADA, under those protections. And on the topic of gratefulness and blessings and thanks, sometimes people think that the ADA generation is entitled, right? Or we are unappreciative because we were born after all of the quote unquote hard work. We don't know what it took to get there and can't appreciate how good we have it now compared to what it used to be. And I would say that that's true, right? We haven't had to know all of those challenges because of the people that came before us. But instead of thinking of ourselves as entitled, I would push to say that we are proud. And it took a lot of work and a lot of people for us to be proud in our disabilities, whether it's in the United States or internationally. So again, just shifting shifting that language a little bit. And I think we have a lot of things to be proud of, right? We heard about all the room that we have to go, but let's think about how much has been achieved by people with disabilities globally that I would say everybody else needs to be thankful for. So if you have ever used a power toothbrush, you're welcome. That was an invention inspired by disability. If you have ever used a device with a keyboard, which, yes, everybody has probably touched a keyboard, you're welcome. That is a device that was inspired and created to address disability. Anybody who has used an Amazon Alexa or an iPhone Siri or a Google HomePod, any of those assistive devices for your homes, you're welcome. Those devices were inspired and created by and for people with disabilities. I could go on and on, but we do have a schedule to keep to today, and I want to be respectful of that. But what I want to leave you with on that piece is a lot of times people with disabilities are told that we need to be thankful, that we need to be grateful for being allowed to come into places or being hired or being given these things. I don't think so. I think we fought for them, and I think we deserve to be here, and we contribute more than we have received. So instead of being thankful, I want to say, you're welcome. So Senator Harkin just mentioned the data about what benefits people with disabilities bring to companies, right? He mentioned that we have a lot of space to go to grow the employment of people with disabilities, and that's true. But I think John mentioned earlier there was a report that came out from Accenture in 2018 that was called the Disability Inclusion Advantage report. And specifically, this report found that companies which are inclusive of people with disabilities are on average twice as likely to have higher total shareholder return than their peers, 28% higher revenue, and 30% higher profit margin. So you're welcome. When you hire people with disabilities, you make money. You benefit, our world benefits. Right, I mentioned some of those companies, Amazon Alexa, the Apple iPhone Siri, Google HomePod. Those three companies have enjoyed a fair amount of economic success, I think we could say. You're welcome. You're welcome. We did that. You're welcome. So how can other companies enjoy the benefits that we bring to them as disabled employees or employees of determination? As Senator Harkin mentioned, we host an international summit every year that focuses on the employment of people with disabilities. So on the place setting in front of you, you all should have a little placard like this. I would ask you to take that home with you. One, because it's very important information about our summit. Two, because my luggage is already heavy, and the fewer of these that I have to take home, the better. So please consider joining us in Belfast this coming summer to be part of that conversation, to learn how other companies, private sector individuals, everybody can benefit from hiring people with disabilities. We are still in the planning stages of this summit, and we just found out that we had almost 100 people apply to present at the summit. So these are almost 100 people from all over the world, every continent, several countries, that are all hoping to present what's going well in their countries and what we can learn from. And I would urge everybody here to join that conversation, be part of that. And finally, I want to go back to our blessings and acknowledge the other people in the room that have been part of that. So I and the Harkin Institute am blessed to be part of this coalition for accessible world events with St. Cloud State University, with Moz Travel, World Enabled, all of the other members of our coalition that are here, either virtually or in person. We're blessed to be a part of that and want to thank everybody for that participation. We are also blessed to have incredible sign language interpretation provided by Sorensen, for which we couldn't have an accessible event without that, and we're blessed to have such skilled interpreters with us. I am blessed to share the stage with such incredible people today, which is something I do not take for granted. Being able to speak after some of the people that we've had is an incredible blessing. And I hope that all of you will bless us with your attendance at our International Summit this summer in Belfast, Northern Ireland. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Yes, you are a blessing. And thank you for reminding us about all the contributions that people with disabilities make, keyboards and toothbrushes. I remember that again tonight as I brushed my teeth from our meal that we had for lunch today. And Amazon and iPhones. And we also have to remember that all of these kind of inventions are for people with disabilities, but the masses tend to use them. And it started with just a little ramp that would get somebody up on a curb. And now we see skateboarders getting up the ramp, and we see people pushing up luggage carts and those type of things. So we see that we can use some of those technologies and advances to share with others about the cause that we have created for those individuals.